Runners, Dean here, Dean 78904. If you want to get all technical, it is a Wednesday. It is hump day. It's myself and Head Chopper for the next hour and 15 minutes. It's an intimate show, just the two of us, Chop. I know you had your quota of me not this past weekend. Actually, it was 10 days ago or so. So it's been a while since the two of us have had a conversation for too long. We were on Sirius previous weekend. Hopefully, it went well enough that we'll book future events. We'll see. I think we're actually not together this weekend going forward. Maybe. I'm sure that's just a coincidence, Chop. You had such a good time. You didn't say, "Hey, let's run this back. Let's do it again." No, I feel like you should have dropped the note in for that.
Well, I'm never trying to run back the Sirius XM show. I'm always trying to be out. I get roped back in. Unfortunately for me, my next Sirius XM gig is with Bime 4. I don't know how that one's going to turn out, man.
Oh boy.
I hope he don't ask me to do the read because I'm not doing the read, man.
You better dust up on your best ball, man. Yeah. Are you I know we've talked about this before, I'm sure. Have you dabbled? Or you dabble with best ball, or just you wait a month, until like a month into the season? There's an edge kind of sort of now, I suppose, with people reacting and overreacting to news. Is that something you care about right now, or we don't?
Well, really Dean, I don't know. I don't know if you knew this, Dean. I don't know, but I cut my fantasy teeth by being one of the best season-long players in the game back in the day. So I've got extensive history with season-long stuff. Best ball, I've done a little best ball. It's fine. It's fun. I will say, and I guess I can get into it a whole lot with Eric because that's probably going to be his talking point when we do the show. But what you do right now in best ball is probably just, for lack of a better term, shits and giggles. I don't know if I could say that on YouTube.
You said it. It's already out
just
there,
goofing around. We're just goofing around now because the best teams you'll be able to draft are more than likely like the closer to that first kickoff comes when you got all the information. Like anything you do on Underdog, you're better off with more information at your fingertips. So
it's interesting you say that. Not to cut you off, but it's interesting you say that because I remember there was a previous season, like where somebody was being drafted like the 18th, 19th, 20th round, who through something goofy and unpredictable, an injury maybe in preseason, is all of a sudden going to become like a third or fourth rounder. So you could argue the best teams, you don't know who they are, but they will appear in 3 or 4 months, or I guess 3 months, whatever it is. It's like, oh wow, this guy's got a stacked team, and look who they got in the 18th, 19th round, this premium player who's now the second round or a third rounder, because this news we don't know is going to happen, but happens at some point from now till the start of the season. You understand what I'm saying?
I get that point, but it's more than likely that more information leads to sharper rankings or however you want to set your team up, and that's going to just lead to better teams in general at the end. And like, okay, so maybe I remember a few years ago it was, oh my God, they just traded Josh Gordon somewhere, right? And Seattle or something. I don't know where it was.
Yeah.
Oh my God, everybody who drafted Josh Gordon with the last pick in the draft is going to crush now. No, he didn't do it. A lot of times it's overblown, but even with that kind of a scenario you're talking about, you'll still know and have that scenario a week before kickoff. So you'll still be able to adjust. I know that, every once in a while that helps, but then the rest of your team, what does the rest of your team look like? You have to get very lucky not to have anything bad happen between now and then also, even if you do get that one great value pick. So with more information comes sharper rankings and sharper drafting, and that's going to happen closer to kickoff, but it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm still in there going with the, I like to still sign up for the 8-hour draft. So I'm not in any rush and, and I'll do that good stuff, but it's just all for fun.
Yeah, and also like there's 3 different sites now. Draftsters, Underdog's up to a $15 million prize pool with their big one. I think $3 million up top, which is pretty crazy. And since we're talking about it, we should mention. You mentioned Bime4. Bime4, of course, does a lot of work at Spike Week, SpikeWeek.com. All sorts of rankings, and they are catered to depending on what site you happen to be on. And yeah, we have a promo code for the people as well, Chopper. I wasn't there a time you were trying to get free access and you were denied, and then you were embarrassed to ask for it? Was this not a story with you? I feel like it was.
Oh,
Bime4 locked you out accidentally?
No, man.
This didn't happen?
He didn't lock me out. He like I went on Slack and like somebody higher up in the company said, hey, if got the Spike Week thing going on, just get in touch with Bimefor and you'll get your free comp. And he said it was a general message to a lot of people. So I DM'd Bimefor, hey man,
Yeah.
can I get some Spike Week action going on? The dude just ghosted me for like 3 months.
Can you guys talk about that on Sirius for 2 hours while you
That's
ghosted
a good point. I'm glad you brought that. I'm gonna have to put that on
Make a note.
Put that on my list of topics, man. Yeah, he ghosted me for like 3 months. Then finally comes back and says, oh, I didn't see this message. Well, the season's already like 2 weeks old. I don't need it now, Bimefor. Shit.
Thanks for nothing. Yeah, but okay, well, if Bimefor is ghosting you, or if you don't happen to have the premium access, you can get a nice little sweet promo code here at spikeweek.com, RG23. It gets you 40% off monthly or seasonal subscription, Spike Week, for all your best ball needs. Daily fantasy sports, that's what we're talking. We're talking baseball today specifically. It was a 10-game slate chop. We're down to 9. The Canadian Fires, the air in New York, unplayable there. So the Yankees are not playing baseball tonight. I don't think we have anything else to. Philadelphia, Detroit is gone, but that's not on the main slate. That's another game that was canceled due to the weather. Now, not wildfire related, but the game in Coors tonight is currently orange-yellow. I'll go ahead and drop this in the chat for the people so you can read it at your own leisure. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth right up. Orange, the dominant color is the one that's first. So orange-yellow does get my attention. I am somewhat concerned. We'll see what Roth has to say when he comes on in about an hour or so. Closer we get the lock, obviously, the better he can tell you, more information. Like you said, just like Best Ball Chop. Weather, similar thing. The more information you have, the better you can do a forecast. What he has here is orange-yellow, scattered showers and storms. There's not much more to say than a delay is fairly likely and a postpone not out of the question. Still, 3+ hours till first pitch. I'll drop this in chat. This is free for the people to read. They're talking about BVP in chat. Those are your people, right? You're officially the BVP whisperer. Is that something you want to be known as if you have a moniker? Is that a good one to have?
I think it's fine. I'm okay with that, Dean. I'm okay with Dean. I'd like to address a couple things here real quick. You said
Sure.
The slate drops from 10 games to 9 games. I'm like so upset, Dean. That really makes me angry because, as you know, if there are 10 games on the slate, we rank 8 players in the CVR. But if there's only 9 games, it drops down to 6. It's a massive difference. And we get the late postponement. It should have been 6. But we had to rank like 8 and 12 and just all that extra work, man. Didn't even need to be
Wasn't
done.
there a memo on that? I thought it changed that it now includes 9 now. I'm not certain of that, but I thought, or did it go from 11 to 10? I don't. Am I getting my memos confused? I thought that was adjusted, but I know what you were saying, and I was thinking the same thing as I was doing my rankings. And myself, yourself, Napster Man, and Tim, Tasteful Tides, we participated today in the consensus rankings. You're working triple duty, Chop. Not only are you doing rankings today, I saw you in the expert survey as well, and of course you're on the show here tonight. Look at you! You're logging a lot of hours.
You hadn't even get into the 2 shows I had to do in the AM for NBA Showdown tonight. Crazy.
You have 2 basketball shows?
What a wild day. I have a short video where I give a couple of plays, and then I did a 30-minute lineup HQ with Squirrel Patrol for the game tonight. So, yeah, what a fruity day, man. Crazy.
You got my Heat winning tonight or what? Or you're talking more like showdown
You
stuff,
know what,
right?
D? Now, who's the one that said, who's the guy? Who's the one of the guys that said the Heat could win this series? Who's been on that train, Dean? That was me. Yours truly.
Yeah.
I still think so. Yeah, I still think so. You know why, Dean? One of the reasons because of the coaching and Eric Spoelstra. And if Mike Malone isn't going to play Michael Porter Jr., if he's going to rest him a whole bunch of minutes there because he can't figure out how to use him, a 6'10" small forward who can shoot 3-pointers as well as smooth as anybody. If you can't
guard him.
If you can't figure out how to use him and you're just going to bench him instead, well, Spoelstra's going to run right through you, Dean. So, yeah, I got Miami tonight.
Spoelstra, best coach in the league, right?
If I could have one coach for my team for the next 15, 20 years, it would be him, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Pop obviously is going to retire, and I don't know if he's still considered a top coach. Well, he's still a good coach, right?
He's a good coach. I think he was probably a tad bit overrated for a while, but yeah, I definitely would rather have Spoelstra.
Yeah, and the Heat culture is real, man. It's totally real. I know people like to make fun of it, but it is, it's not a coincidence that they keep just out of nowhere getting all these undrafted players to play really, really good, getting the most out of the little they happen to have. But all right, now well, tell the people where we can find those. Are they premium, those videos that you did? The short video, is that somewhere on the Twitter? Where does one find that?
The short video you can find at the RotoGrinders Twitter. That's a free thing. The premium was the Lineup HQ show, so you probably got to have access to that. Now, you know what I'm seeing on my timeline come across now?
What's that?
Lionel Messi, who went to Miami today, by the way. That's what a shocking development that was. I'm seeing across my timeline, he was offered, check this, Dean, he was offered 3 years, $1.6 billion from the Saudis, and he turned it down to go to Miami. Whew, that's a man of principle right there.
That's yeah. I mean, like, he's what? How many more yachts do you need? But yeah, that respect. He's also at 35, right? Yeah, it's kind of cool that with the producer from the Levitard show has been on this for a while, talking about Messi coming to Miami. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I'm sure he's not getting paid anywhere near that, and I don't know how that works. I can't imagine Miami's is the MLS like paying him. Just kind of, it's almost like promoting the league. I assume like the MLS is like kicking in some money. I don't know how it's working, but he's not getting anywhere close to $1 billion for 3 years. Remember many years ago they got Beckham as well. Like, they get these big names. Like, I imagine this happens in other sports. Like, well, right now Dwight Howard's playing, or he was playing in Taiwan. Was he playing somewhere over in Asia, just dominating? And I guess it happens to, like, soccer is not as popular here, so the fading stars come to play over here. They kind of their last few seasons. Like, Lionel Messi is basically our version of Dwight Howard, is what I'm saying, Chop.
No way.
I don't know.
Dean, come on now.
Well, I know Messi's a bigger star. I'm not.
He's still got that. I've been told. I'm not a big soccer aficionado, but I've been told Messi still has a lot left in the tank.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a modern day Roy Kent.
What? There's not even Roy Kent is just a defenseman, man. Who was on the tail end of his career, man, and could like Messi just won the World Cup, basically the best player on the World Cup champion just last year.
All right, my soccer knowledge it's okay for the average person, but I can't. I'm by no means a soccer expert for sure, but yeah, excited for that. Maybe I'll check out a game. I'm not too far from Miami these days, so that'll be kind of fun. I think their stadium is on the water. At least they're building a stadium on the water. I'm not sure if it's been done.
I asked an expert, because I'm not the soccer expert. I asked an expert. I said, what is this comparable to in the NBA or NFL? Those are the terms I would. He said this is comparable to Patrick Mahomes signing in the CFL. So, take that.
No, but like in 2035.
No,
that's
still,
bad.
You think Messi's that washed?
He's 35 years old, man. That's really old in soccer years. That's really old.
He was just offered $1.6 billion.
That's because they're just buying his name. Like the whole, not to get the whole Live Golf thing. They're just buying a name.
I'm going to tell these experts that you say they're completely wrong and that you know more than them about soccer.
They are wrong in that, yes, it's like Mahomes playing for the CFL or whatever, some football league and wherever, but at the absolute end of his career. That's what it's like. So, it's not like Mahomes. This is not his prime. I promise you. This is not Messi's prime. He's 35 years old. All right. Today's baseball slate. Again, we lost the Yankees down to 9. Keep an eye as far as the Rockies in San Francisco. The chalk is pretty straightforward when it comes to the hitters. San Fran's got a big total today. Assuming that game goes there in Colorado, we're talking about a team total above 6.5 against Connor Siebold. The Dodgers have a monster total in Cincinnati, over 6 as well, facing Brandon Williamson. Williamson just, not really very good. Not a lot of promise behind him. They have some promising arms in Cincinnati. Williamson is not one of them. On the other side, Syndergaard has been terrible as well this season. The Cincinnati team bolstered by De La Cruz. I was watching a good chunk of that game yesterday. Really excited crowd there. I was happy for them. Happy for Cincinnati. They have some prospects, still some more prospects to come. Lodolo and Hunter Green, if they become good. this could be a fun team to root for going forward. So Cincinnati on the rise there. 11 total, 6 for the Dodgers, almost 5 for Cincy. Syndergaard has been pretty weak. Toronto is going to be playing their game. Of course, there's some smog in that area. There's issues, but they already said the roof's just going to be closed. They're going to close their roof, and they're going to play in Toronto. Last we saw, according to their Twitter accounts, I assume that game's going to go as well. We have Patrick Corbin throwing baseballs today versus the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks threw out a bunch of their lefties, which is interesting. Smith cracked the lineup, McCarthy, Carroll. Every once in a while, they'll sit them against the lefty, but they're all in there against Corbin. Again, cross out Chicago and New York. Pitching to me, we'll talk pitchers obviously first, and we'll get the stacks, whatever's on chat's mind. We're here for the next hour till we yield to Derek Carty. Derek Carty will be on later on, and I'm sure people are going to want to talk to Carty about the Texas Rangers. I'm sure Carty will say very nice, glowing things about the Rangers. And Kirkwood got the promotion. He's like Ellie De La Cruz. He's not 21 years old and like the future prospect, but he got promoted. He got called up to the big club. He's on crunch time with Carty and Roth, and TJ's hanging out in chat as well. Chris Paul just got cut. Really? How isn't he? He was
goodness, Dean. I was waiting for you to finish talking so I could send out the air horn alert. Chris Paul has been waived.
Doesn't he have like a huge contract, like 30 mil or something like that?
Guess it doesn't matter, Dean. I guess they find that he's that much of a liability. Might as well eat the contract and
that's interesting.
Move on. Yeah, it is kind of interesting.
38 years old, just derailing the show here.
I mean, he's washed. Now you talk about a guy who's washed. Had a great career. Who's really, he's the one.
30 mil. Wait, hold on. Wait, he was supposed to get 30 mil this year and next year? 2023. Oh, it was partially guaranteed. So, okay. That is interesting. And I assume there's a plan on the back end of that for Phoenix as well, too. And there's rumors that Ayton wanted out Phoenix as well. But, the NBA, I'm sure it'll be an interesting offseason for sure. Not a very successful they lost their coach. But he got paid. Detroit got like $80 or $90 million. Detroit just like, here's a bunch of money. Good for him. But all right, back to today's baseball slate. Give me the screenshot, Chop. And what are you doing? What's the plan? What are we playing? We got a bunch of lineups. We have one lineup. We have single entry stuff. Well, what's the focus? We playing Fanduel. We playing Draftkings. We're playing both. I always like to know what kind of lineups you're making.
Well, Dean, I took a glance at the slate and looked at my schedule and then looked at the slate again. And my plan is 50 lineups on FanDuel in GPP. Those 50 lineups, my initial thought was I will have at least a 3-man stack in all 50 of just San Francisco. This was this morning when I signed up. So I'm probably going to go something like that route. Just pick 1 to 2 teams, just stack every one with those 2 teams. Hope one of them breaks out, and then I can do, because I didn't want to do the 150, with the show. And then on DraftKings, I want to go with 3 lineups in the, I don't want to say cash because they're GPPs, but single entry GPPs and things like that. Some of the smaller fields. So 3 lineups over there. So I'm playing both, a little bit of both.
What do you see as far as the slate? When it comes to hitters, you said you like San Fran. We're going to check in with Roth when he gives us the green light on that. And like my general thought is, if this game is kind of dicey, and again, see what Roth has to say, but either you're all in or you're all out. I know some people talk about that in general, like, I'm either all in on cores or I'm all out. But if a game is questionable and it's like a 70% chance it plays, 30% chance it gets washed away, it makes no sense as a general thought process to have like a one-off in cores. The upside is not as good as the downside. Just that's something, Chop, I'm sure you're aware of, but just somebody hasn't fully thought that out. So you probably should be all in or all out if a game is especially dicey weather-wise. Pitching is tricky today, Chop. I had a hard time doing my pitching rankings. I really did. I'm curious to get your thoughts. Well, I can look right at them as far as your rankings, and it's interesting. Yeah, Burns, Scherzer, 2 pitchers that have been not what they've used to, a little bit underwhelming this season, but still they've shown flashes. Gray's been really, really good. John Gray's been really good. I don't really like picking on St. Louis, but that St. Louis's offense has been underwhelming, and he is a righty. Tanner Bybee, pretty impressive as far as the rookie. Charlie Morton, I don't really want to pick on the Mets, but Morton's a solid pitcher. I like Logan Webb if that game goes, actually, despite the fact it's in Coors, because I have no respect for the Rockies, but the weather is kind of tricky. Do I want to pick on Houston? Probably not, but Chris Bassett's fine. There's no clear and obvious spot. There's no Mitch Keller spot today where it's like, oh, of course, let's just lock in these Mitch Keller points.
Oh, don't bring that guy up.
Oh man, yeah, that was not good. Hey, Willie Adames is back, by the way. Good for him. We got the Milwaukee lineup: Christian Yelich, Adames, Tellez, Miller, Singleton, Anderson, Monasterio, Caratini, and then Weimer. So there's no Contreras, Cross Contreras off the list, but Adames is pretty cheap. Just I guess he's coming in at 3.9 on DK and 2.9 on FanDuel. It's a pretty good price, and he's also facing a reverse splits righty. So yeah, just right out the gate, I think Adames is pretty interesting. But pitching wise, Chop, it's tough, man. You can poke holes. Nothing looks perfect, but I guess that's what kind of makes this slate fun. And we are getting a new batch of ownership when we're kicking out, because the 4K pitcher on DK for the Yankees was going to be pretty interesting to kind of make stuff work. Obviously, the Yankee game has been canceled, if you all are not aware. We're getting a shuffle up as far as our ownership. We'll talk about that in a second, but I'm curious where you're at. Do you have somebody clearly separating themselves as far as Burns, Scherzer, Gray, Bybee, Morton, Webb? I really don't. I think it's really close.
Dean, usually I go and, when I'm doing my research to start the day, I go down the pitcher list and I start highlighting some guys for the show that, okay, these guys are standing out to me, this guy, this guy, this guy. I could only find one guy that I legitimately highlighted and felt fairly decent about. I don't even feel great about him, and that's John Gray. Just because he's been pitching lights out lately, 5 straight starts, 1 run or less he's given up. So he's on track. And then you've got that inconsistent St. Louis offense. He's the one guy that I highlighted, and I didn't just want it to be one guy. I'm looking for other guys, but like you just said, I could poke holes in everybody. Corbin Burns, has he been great this year? No, man. He's been okay, and he's expensive, and he's facing Baltimore, who has a good offense. And not only do they have a good offense, they added Aaron Hicks, and Aaron Hicks stinks, but my God, he's the second coming. He's like Aaron Judge now since he got to Baltimore. So it's actually – the top of that order is really tough. They don't strike out much, and they've got some pop in there. So I think with Burns, you're hoping for him to like mow through the bottom of the order. I don't know. I can poke holes in him. Charlie Morton. Do I want to? Yeah, Charlie Morton. He's inconsistent himself.
He might be older than Chris Paul.
He probably is. To be honest with you, I think he is. Chris Bassett's been really good this year, but I don't know. That's not an easy. Let me see the Houston line. Did Altuve make it back tonight? I don't think so.
It was supposed to be. They said Wednesday night is when he's coming back. So he didn't make.
Yeah, he did make it back, but he's batting second. So somebody who's out then. Bregman's not in there. Bregman's not in there. So, Altuve comes back. Bregman, who's one of the hottest hitters on the team, leaves. So Bassett's okay. He's expensive too, though. Scherzer, boy, he's found it now in these last couple of starts, but Atlanta's, man, that is one of the tougher matchups that you'll get. I would think that the talent wins over the matchup, and that I would lean Scherzer, but it's still not something I want to invest a lot of money in. So what I'm saying is I poke holes in all these guys. On DraftKings, you said Logan Webb, and I wanted to think about Logan Webb. I wanted to play him. I wanted to be contrarian in Colorado, but how can I pay $9,900 for Logan Webb in Colorado? What's his upside? It's not. It probably not.
Against these guys, like he's a great ground ball guy.
He could. He's going to have to get. He's going to have to strike guys out though to have that good upside. So then we'll see if he can do that in Coors Field. I just don't know if the upside's there for $9,900 to compete with some of these other guys. So just running down it, man. I'm poking holes in everybody because I don't love anybody. I love the hitting so much more today than the pitching. So I'll probably have John Gray the most in my lineups, but it's not saying much. There's just like 7 or 8 guys that are just at the top of the charts there, and they're okay, and they're nothing better than that. So it's a great day to spread it out, in my opinion, your pitching exposure.
There's no incredible strikeout pitcher pitching today. Logan Webb actually is the best strikeout pitcher this season, 26.5%. Scherzer at 25.3%, which is lower than we've had in seasons past. Corbin Burns all the way down to 22.8, which is, fine, but not as good as he has been historically. Gray, you mentioned Gray, like the Ks are not amazing, 20.1%. I like Gray. He feels a little bit like an overspend. The walks are a little bit too high at 7.9%. Sam Jackson asking about the Nationals game potentially getting postponed. I was wondering about that too. I don't know if that's the smog and the poor air has traveled to DC. I'm not aware of that, but I assume that's one of those things. And it is Washington. They do goofy things there in Washington that we will be theoretically we would be aware of that well before first pitch. I just don't really like to pick on St. Louis, but Gray is fine. I'm not going to say you're wrong. For Scherzer, we can say at least we've seen signs, right? Four starts in a row, at least 21 DK points. The strikeouts are back, 9 and 8 the last 2 times. He also threw over 100 pitches the last 2 games. We've seen him previously, which with a bit of a leash issue, 101 and 102. Previous to that, 86, 83, 75. So Max is certainly interesting. And the Atlanta team is full of boppers. You don't really want to pick on that team, on that team or in that ballpark. It's a downgrade ballpark wise, but you got to hit it. And there are strikeouts there. The Atlanta lineup today specifically versus righties this year, 22.8%. Acuna is a good contact guy. Acuna is so good, man. Dude just does everything. Albi's a good contact guy as well, but otherwise, Harris in there almost at 28%. You got Ozuna striking out a good bit, Rosario as well, Murphy and Riley. So there are Ks. I like Scherzer. I think Burns. I feel pretty good about Burns. I think he's been kind of unlucky this year, and I don't really like that Baltimore lineup, the absence of Mullins. I think it significantly hurts. I know you're talking about Hicks has been all right, good for him, but obviously it's small sample stuff, and I'm not buying it. I don't think Hicks is going to be very good. I want to pick on Hicks. It's not a very patient lineup, and that's one of the bugaboos this year for Burns. Walks a little bit too high at 9.8%. I think Burns is my favorite. Maybe Scherzer. It's just so close. It's so close. Bybee, where do you have Tanner Bybee for Cleveland, the rookie?
Yeah, I looked him up because of the shortage of names out there, and he's okay. I just don't know if the strikeouts going to be there enough to really push him towards a big upside game. But I think he's fine. He's been okay this year, so yeah, he doesn't stand out, but he's definitely in play on this type of slate.
I mean, 25.2% Ks, 25% Ks, 6% walks on this slate is really, really good. Facing Boston. Boston, there is some power there, and they're supposed to be a pretty good contact lineup, and they are up top, but the back end is loaded with guys that strike out, actually. After Verdugo, Yoshida, and Turner, we get into 25, 26, 29, 28, 24 as far as the percent striking out versus righties. So Monty's asking about Jaime Barria, and I was reading Dave Potts, Jesus good. I was reading his article, and he was talking about moving some of his, I forget the guy's name, Vasquez was the pitcher for the Yankees that was 4K, Randy Vasquez. And he's talking about pivoting to Barria. He's talking about in chat, Barria looks like a bit of a different pitcher this season. I have a bias against Barria. I never really thought he was good, and he's been better, and I probably should acknowledge that. But it's also worth noting, he's been lucky, right? 1.59 ERA, 3.64 Sierra. 3.64 Sierra is very, very good. A homer in the fly ball is at 6.9%. Super, super lucky. 239 BABIP, super lucky as well. But, are we really afraid of the Cubs? The Cubs probably going to come with a bunch of strikeouts. I don't think we have a lineup there just yet. Do we have a Chicago lineup, Chop? Cubbies? I don't think so.
Let me check on that real quick. Cubs are no, I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah, it's a patient team. At least the projected lineup. Not a ton of power versus righties this season, outside of Christopher Morel, assuming he cracks the lineup. I think they have more power versus lefties. I'm fairly certain of that. Didn't really come to fruition last night, unfortunately, for me. I had too much of the Cubs and Wisdom. Really, really patient, though. 12.4%. The projected lineup, at least, is walks versus righties this year. But the K's have been there for Berea. You can't deny that. The K's have certainly been there. He's also historically been a guy that doesn't go too deep. What's our pitch count for him? Projection. Somewhere in the mid-80s? 83. Okay, so we're not projecting a ton of pitches, but 83, and it's baked into the price at $7K. We do have a new batch of ownership chop. And Berea, by the way, for what it's worth, getting 14% as an SB2 on TK. Corbin Burns at 38% probably feels like that's too much. If we think they're all kind of sort of somewhat the same, 38% for Burns, 27% for Bybee, 24 for Morton, feels a little high, 20 for your boy John Gray, Bassett at 17%, Webb at 15%. The most interesting one, if this is true ownership, if we're close to it at least, Scherzer at 12%, I'm in on that. Hopefully the home run he gives up, he probably gives up a homer. Hopefully it's a solo job, right? Goes 6, strikes out 7 or 8, gives up a solo homer, and hopefully it's not a 3-run. And, that could be the difference. But I feel really good at max. If as far as Scherzer's ownership being a 12% chop, if that's correct, DK, I love that. I'll be well over
that. Yeah, I think there's some good signs there pointing towards him rebounding and getting it together. So I'm okay with that. And then I have a question in chat, Dean. It says Jake Sutton asks John Gray and Chris Taylor or Corbin Burns, Johnny DeLuca. Okay, for me, I'm pretty easily on the John Gray, Chris Taylor side. I don't think the Burns stands out enough. I think John Gray competes with him. And then when you start talking about the other two, the hitters, I want Chris Taylor in there against that lefty more so than Johnny DeLuca. So I'm on the Burns. I'm on the Taylor Gray side there, Jakey buddy.
We encourage questions. I don't know if there's more to that chop, but when you guys ask questions, it makes it much easier, and we'll give you a better answer if you tell us if it's for cash, if you tell us if it's for tournaments, if it's a large field, a tournament, if it's a single entry tournament, if it's DK, if it's Fanduel. The details do help. You mentioned DeLuca. I want to check the bat because I feel like he seems like a very strong candidate to get the hook at some point. Once Williamson's out of there, you got Hayward on the bench. You have somebody else on the bench too. Peralta, a couple lefties on the bench lurking. You never really know how the situations are going to turn out. But
Dean,
yeah,
is there anything worse than about to min cash and all of a sudden your two lefties in Coors Field, Peterson and Conforto get the hook? My God, man, that's about as frustrating as it gets.
Did that happen last night?
Yeah, that happened last night.
I didn't have that problem because I was already buried. I did not have much Coors last night. I had very little Giants. I had a lot of the Dodgers, and I did not have enough Freeman, unfortunately, and not in the right spots. So I was already I was on Netflix basically. By the time that Giant game really got going, I'm pulling up the bat, and Carter will be on later as well too. And I feel like I was looking at this DeLuca guy. Not a huge prospect in the organization for LA, but he does have some power. He's shown some power in the minors, and just takes one. If you hit a homer, good for you. And who cares if you get pinch hit for later on? By the way, no extreme pitchers as far as pitchers umpires, as far as hitters umpires or pitchers umpires. We saw Snell the other night. I don't know if you're watching Snell, but he got really lucky with some help from the umpire. I think he had an extreme pitchers umpire too. And not to make an excuses for Keller, he was bad yesterday, but he got squeezed several times yesterday. Pinch hit risk. Whoa, is that correct? 100% for Singleton? Was he? No, on 37%. Never mind. Chris Taylor, 29%. Yeah, there's a chance he gets the hook as well. Where is the dude for the Dodgers?
Yeah, I don't know. You find him, Dean, while you're 12%. Doing that? While you're doing that, I see we have a Giants lineup now. It's really left-handed heavy at the top with Wade, then Estrada, but then Peterson and Conforto, then Haniger and Yaz. Now, as Cheese alluded to earlier today, the Colorado did run through one of their two left-handed relievers last night, so maybe maybe we get lucky and that guy's out of play today, which would lower the overall pinch hit risk with these lefties. But I'm still attacking it, Dean. I'm okay with it. I mean, if they get pinch hit again, then so be it. But hopefully they've done their damage by then in GPPs.
Well, their bullpen got worked really hard yesterday. Thankfully for them, Sunday, they only have one of their guys actually pitched on Sunday. That was the lefty Brent Suter, but he should be well rested today. Monday, they were off. So they're pretty well rested bullpen going into yesterday, but they did have 5 guys throw. Peter Lambert almost definitely doesn't go because he threw 55 pitches. Bird and Bard threw 35, 36. But you did mention Brad Hand, just 15 pitches. So I would imagine both are available, unless I'm missing something. I would imagine both lefties are available for Colorado.
Dean, big news. Just hit the waivers here, Dean. Big news.
What do we got?
For the second time in 3 games, Jake Fraley is scratched.
Allergies?
I don't know, but wrist at this time. So he's scratched again, which that's disappointing to get a lineup and then scratch a guy late. And that's his 2 in 3 games. So Fraley's out. I think that's a big one because the Reds are a pretty darn good stack tonight, but he's no longer in that stack.
I feel like, there's no stat for this. I feel like the Reds scratch their players. Like, they're leading the league in players scratched. That's what I'm going to say. That's knowing no facts, but just it feels like they scratch guys all the time. Am I wrong to say that? He did get hit last night. That's a good point. Yeah, he got hit late. He actually tied the game up by getting hit.
Just wait till next year, Dean, when they bring up one of their top prospects. Dean is coming up next year. Armando Balls. Then Balls, when Balls gets scratched, we got some issues. We got some issues in baseball.
What's the first name again?
Armando
Ball. I feel like that's not a real name. I'm pretty sure.
Mr. Gallardo is in chat and he says, "Do you think Dean is going to win any money tonight? I wonder if the polluted air is going to impact him." I don't know if he's talking about Dean Creamer or Dean Shavelson, so he's going to have to specify that. I don't know. I seriously don't know which one he's talking about.
Well, does he think the polluted air improves or somehow hinders my ability to make a lineup? Not really sure. Get some more clarification as far as that question, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll check. Last night, I have no excuses. Maybe it was the air, but it was a disaster for me last night.
Your boy in chat, Mark, says Fraley he hurt his wrist wiping his nose so much from the allergies. That's a good one. I like that one, man.
He pulled a Homer Simpson last night. He took the hit by pitch, and he didn't. It wasn't a walk-off hit by pitch. They tied the game, but then they did a walk-off from I think the second baseman of the ball, like the deep left center field, like a single, although it would have been a double. Doesn't matter. Cincinnati, they're excited there in Cincy. They had a walk-off 3 runs there in the 9th inning for the Reds. They do have an Encarnacio Strand. I thought you were going to give like a real prospect name, by the way, who may come up later on the season. We'll see. I do see a bunch of questions coming in chat, and by all means, fire them off. They're talking about Bybee. Berea in tournaments. I guess Berea. The Berea is the best cheapie, right? If you have to pick somebody. You got to save some salary.
We're talking about on DraftKings.
I don't think you play him on FanDuel. I guess you can.
It's debatable. I mean, he's nice and cheap. $7K. How close is that to other? Like, I don't know if you need the salary. What you're saving there? Like, okay, I won't recommend this guy for like some serious money, right? I won't recommend him for serious money. But Ronel Blanco for Houston is like dirt cheap. He's as expensive as a good hitter, right? That's how cheap he is. He probably gets blown up tonight, but he has a good enough slider to get through 5, maybe 6 innings if he just has a little bit of control. I'm not playing him. I think there's blow-up potential because he does lose control a lot, but he does have really good just raw stuff with that slider. So that's a cheap one. I mean, if I'm not going that low, which I probably won't, Berea's probably a decent enough option. He'll probably get you 5 innings and 6 Ks, and that may be good enough tonight on this slate of pitching.
This year in the PCL, Pacific Coast League, 16 innings, small sample, but 13 walks for your boy Blanco. I think he was pitching most out of the bullpen too, so I don't know how stretched out he is. They're trying to make him a starter. Houston dealing with some injuries. What's up with McCullers? He had a setback, right? That's kind of a bummer. He's on my season-long team, sitting in my IL. It's not good, Chop. Is he coming back anytime soon?
Oh,
It wasn't
man.
good news. That Dusty was like, yeah.
It's a tough one. It's tough.
We gotta
to
wait
say.
on him.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know, man. It's tough to say. He keeps on getting setbacks. I kind of wish that, like, the last time he pitched healthy was that playoff series against the White Sox almost 2 seasons ago. So I kind of wish they would have just put the guy, given him the surgery and gotten it out of the way. By now he'd be back and healthy, whatever it was. But he keeps on trying to work through it. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we see him later in the year, but I'm not holding my breath for him. But Blanco, I mean, he went into the 6th inning against the Angels last game. He has problems with walks. Like, he lives on the edge. If he can get through those 2-on and 2-out situations, or bases loaded and 2 out, if he can get you through that, he can power through some innings and rack up a few Ks. But man, you're living on the edge because he's due to get blown up in one of those spots and then get run out of there early. So I don't know.
Yeah, the K's have been good. It's all small sample stuff, really. It's not what you're digging into this season, but the K's have been pretty good. The walks obviously outrageous, and the walks in the minors troublesome. I'm guessing he's not really a prospect because he's 29, right? So he's not really at the prospect age. I don't know if he once was a prospect. I don't know much about his history, to be honest. But yeah, if he's not going to throw strikes, he won't stick around very long. But he is cheap. That's like the nicest thing I guess we can say about him. Otherwise, as far as pitching, by the way, I'm shocked that Berea is getting 15% ownership on Fanduel, 6.2K, and then that's probably because it's going to give you, Freeman and Betts and all the expensive bats, and that's sort of the thought process here. But to me, I made a couple lineups before the show on Fanduel, one with Scherzer, one with Burns, and my hitters are pretty good. So I don't anticipate stepping down the Berea. I'll probably make another lineup or two. But ownership does suggest that Berea is going to grab some on Fanduel. Burns 21%, Berea 15, Bybee 13, Morton 11, Max 7. Which again, that just seems I don't want to pick on Atlanta, but that's sort of what the slate is giving us. Is there any other pitchers that are worth acknowledging, worth talking about, Chop? Trying to catch up on some questions in chat as well.
Yeah.
If you missed anything pitcher wise, I'm happy to knock those out now.
As far as the pitching, I don't think we talked about Bassett too much, and I think he's intriguing because he's pitching well, and I don't know what to make of the Houston lineup. They put Dubonner at the top of the order. I don't know if he deserves to be there, but I mean, he's okay. He's hit a couple home runs here in the last couple of weeks, so he's fine. He's still flirting around the 300, but it is what it is. We lose Bregman in that lineup, so that was a heater right there. He was on a little bit of a heater. He's gone. But Dean, near the bottom of the order now, they insert. Is he playing catcher? Yanier Diaz, I guess, is catching tonight because I don't see Maldonado in the lineup. So Diaz is actually a really good hitting catcher. He came over in the Cleveland trade with Phil Maton, for Miles Straw a couple years ago, and I think that's the piece Houston really wanted in that trade. And he tore up the minors, and he's getting his shot now, and he's earning a little bit more playing time as the thing goes on. He's really good. So you get that instead of Maldonado, so it's a good trade-off. And you know who else is in the lineup tonight, Dean?
A person named Gray Kessinger? Is that a real person?
Oh,
have you seen?
Yeah, he just came up from the minors. He's he's okay. He's got, like, his grandfather was a major league player or something like that. So I don't know what to expect out of him, but Corey Julks,
I think it's his MLB debut.
Yeah, it's MLB. Julksamania is in the lineup, Dean. That's his official nickname. Julksamania.
No, that's Julksamania?
As in, when he does something good, the Houston broadcast go, "What you gonna do, brother, when Julksamania runs wild on you?"
What?
That's what they do. Which Julksamania is his official nickname.
Did they say that when he hit his grand slam off of Manoah?
Yes. Wait, did you see that? What's wrong with Manoah? Good, they got rid of that.
They sent him down to below A-ball.
He gave up 6 runs in one inning, man. He's bad. But yeah, it's
rough.
So the bottom of the order is not terrible. They get weakened at the top with no Bregman. So Chris Bassett's in play because he's been pretty good this year and he has shown upside, and almost 8 innings and 8 Ks the last outing. It wasn't that long ago when he went a complete game with 8 strikeouts against Atlanta, and that's a tough offense. So he's got some upside. He can mow through some guys, and just like we saw last night with Gaussman against this Houston team. They are susceptible to really good pitching sometimes. So I think he's interesting.
13 Ks was it for Gaussman? 13, I want to say.
Yeah, he crushed it last night. After the leadoff homer by Duboner, man, he settled in and just went crazy.
But
he really makes you regret not playing him instead of Old Yeller last night. My goodness.
I had him and still lost in some of my lineups. That was kind of a bummer, but what are you going to do? And I paired them together in DK. But this does look like the MLB debut for Gray Kessinger. Looks like he's got some power and some speed in 2022, 500 games in AA, 16 homers and 23 stolen bases this season. 6 homers and 2 steals and 220 at bats. So a little bit of power. Somewhere the speed went away, which is kind of strange. But he's 2K. He's actually on both sites too. He's 2K on DK, 2K on Fanduel. You mentioned you kind of did the Hulk Hogan thing. One of his biggest rivals historically, the Iron Sheik. Make you humble. R.I.P. Iron Sheik. I don't know if you saw the news. Are you sitting down, Chop?
R.I.P. Sheik, man. He was one of the few wrestling personalities that definitely got better after he retired and got on Twitter, man. He actually took off, right? He was really good follow.
He was very straight and to the point on Twitter. Yeah, but that rest in peace to the Iron Sheik. Jared wants to know if Steve is behind the scenes today. Yes, we have producer Steve today. I'm not really sure how that matters, but yes, we do. We'll get to some of yours. Was I iffy on Gray? Candyman saying, why was I so iffy on Gray? Was I iffy on Gray? I think he's fine. I didn't mean to be iffy. That wasn't the impression I was giving. That was not my intent. Eric wants to know about Dean Kramer. I'm not playing Dean Kramer, but are you considering Kramer? Is that something you're working in?
That's a good one, Dean. Now, he really doesn't have very much strikeout upside, but these days, anytime you're getting a matchup against Milwaukee, you got to seriously consider that pitcher, man. So he's not out of the question, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I prefer lefties against the Brewers. I'm pretty sure Kramer is a reverse splits righty, if that matters. It makes it a little bit more appealing as far as attacking this team. They did get Adames back. I'm checking the bat. That's kind of where that's my cheat code for. Yeah, according to the bat, Derek Carty will be on about 25 minutes or so, as well as Kevin Roth. Kevin Roth will be on. He'll give you an update as far as weather-wise, what's going on in Coors and everywhere else that matters. And I believe Kirkwood got the call up to the big show. He'll be on at crunch time as well, taking you guys straight to luck, giving fair plays position by position. Stacks, all the good stuff. We'll talk stacks in a second. Kramer is a large reverse split pitcher, according to the bat. What else is going on in chat? I see Devin hanging out. Why are we talking about jet skis? What happened in jet skis? Are you keeping up here with the chat there, Chop? I'm a little bit behind.
I saw the jet ski post. I have no idea what it's in reference to, though. I didn't. It was going too fast for me.
Give me the summary. I just tuned into the show like a minute ago, Chop. I missed everything, and now I want a summary as far as pitchers before we start talking about some bats.
I guess the summary would be myself and Dean both agree that pitching is rather weak today and spread out at the top. But there's not a dominant ace. Just kind of look at those guys. There's cases to be made for any of the top 5 or 6 projected guys, and there's holes you can poke in any one of them. So I prefer on the multi-entry sites like FanDuel tonight, which I'm going to do, is spread my ownership around at the pitching. When it comes to DraftKings and doing single entry and only making 3 lineups, probably have a lot of John Gray tonight.
All right, stack-wise, myself, yourself, Napster Man, Tim, Tasteful Tides, we collectively, this is our favorite stacks. San Francisco and LA are tied at the top. They're 1 and 1A. Then Cincinnati, Arizona, the Angels, Toronto, and Texas. Texas got a little bit of love from Napster Man. How do you feel about that? You feel like there's sort of tiers? Is San Francisco distinctly better than the Dodgers or vice versa? How do you feel as far as stacks? And you said you're not even somebody you feel like you're obligated to stack, but you talked about the plan, assuming weather is good to go, of having at least 3 Giants in every single lineup. You said earlier today. Is that what it was? 3?
Yeah. just depends on the slate. On a slate like this, I'm looking at the San Francisco situation, and anytime I can get in Coors Field against what I think is a bad pitcher, I don't think Seabold is particularly good. Yeah, I mean that tends to. I think people tend to shy away from stacking a really good situation like that, and so I can jump on that. But I don't separate them. And I've heard a lot of great talk about the Dodgers, today. So I'm not really. There's not much separation there. I think that's 1A and 1B, and I'm fine with that. If you look on the survey, it asked me what stack will you be underweight on? Probably that Toronto stack. They're the third highest team total, or roughly around there, but I don't like them as much. And then for me, there's a bit of a gap there, but then I put Cincinnati there. And man, I love Cincinnati tonight. I may have to rethink my. I may have to rethink my San Francisco love and sprinkle in a lot of Cincinnati, because there's just a lot of avenues in that game for them to do well. I mean, they are against Noah Syndergaard, who still hasn't figured out, the stolen base situation. Boy, Cincinnati has a real opportunity to take advantage of that, because their lineup can be very, very fast. They're built on speed. Ellie De La Cruz, fresh up.
Oh yeah.
Don't know if people know this. He's definitely 5 tools, and he's definitely got the speed to take advantage of this tonight. Stole like 43 bases, I think it was, 2 years ago in the minors. This year, before he was called up, 11 in like roughly 38 games. So he can take advantage of it. They got other guys in the line. Oh, Jonathan India is one of my favorite sneaky plays tonight because of the speed. So I think Cincinnati, and then I think there's a big gap, and then the next stacks follow. But yeah, those 3 are definitely my tops. I got a question in chat.
Yeah.
Real quick from Mr. Gallardo. He wants to know about Washington being a sneaky stack against Zach Davies. He must have read the survey today, because that was my sneaky stack. Sneaky, meaning I got to get past all this, top tier team totals and all that good stuff. I do, because Zach Davies kind of stinks this year. And, you can put it on him, and then you can get to the bullpen. And I got to see this lineup. Let me refresh my page and see what the Washington lineup looks like. But I'm kind of a big fan of what Washington is building out here with their hitters. It looks okay. It looks okay. Lane Thomas, I think, is a really good hitter. But then I get down to like Candelario, Meneses, and Dickerson. I like that 3-4-5 combo. I think they can have some upside with that. So, yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind that Washington sneaky stack.
I would just say I was talking about Corbin starting. Washington, to my knowledge, still fully all right-handed in that bullpen, but Arizona's starting their main lefties, I think. So, like, I assume they're going to stick around. Like, Smith is a guy that would, just normally wouldn't start this game. Now he's not leading off. They moved up Marte to the 1 spot, but Smith is down to the 6 spot. But he is starting left on left, so I assume he sticks around this entire game, because once Corbin's gone, there's going to be all right-handers coming in. By the way, I'll take you behind the little peek as far as the expert survey. One of the things you get if you have RotoGrinders Premium, I'm not somebody that really digs into an arsenal of a pitcher and how much they're changing. I'll look at it sometimes when the situation calls for it. But today's hot take, and maybe this is what somebody was referring to earlier before about Barria changing his stuff up. Stevie's hot take is Jaime Barria uses his new spinning slider to be the highest scoring pitcher on the slate. So I was not aware he's got a spinning slider. I don't know are you aware that he added I don't know what a spinning slider is. I know what a slider is. And I guess aren't all sliders spinning? Am I wrong to say that? But okay, maybe he's just using it as an adjective. But I guess Barria has changed his pitch mix, and that could be part of the reason why he's pitching better, which always fascinates me, because like at what point, like this guy's been pitching for like 20 years in his life or whatever. It just dawned on him, maybe I should start spinning a slider. Never really thought about it until, okay. Yeah. So I guess that's some context to Barria possibly being better. What's your bold call? I'll chop your bold call today is that Corbin Burnes does not make it out of the 5th inning. There you go.
I had a bold call in the Yankees game, but it got postponed, so they put me on the spot there at the last minute.
My bold call yesterday, by the way, was Gausman throws a complete game with 10-plus strikeouts.
Oh,
didn't quite get there, but like
you nailed it, man.
It was only 7 innings, but still, because that bullpen was just really worked hard. But yeah, you try to be ambitious with the bold calls. I see TJ hanging out in chat. He's just hanging out. He's at no shows as far as I know. TJ will be happy. Maybe Spidey's lurking too. I don't know. But do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. And Chop's going to give you the triple G plays. Chop's going to give you all the singles. Luis Ariz, unfortunately, is not on this slate, so you can't pick him to get 4 singles. BBP plays. You got anybody for BBP, Chopper?
You want me to give a BVP play real quick? There's not a lot to love BVP, like the algorithm. It spits out names. I mean, it's not up to me. I'm not looking. I'm just pulling up the numbers. And the one that did get spit out today, Dean, that semi-intriguing is Charlie Blackmon against Logan Webb in Coors Field. So maybe you get some low ownership on the BVP play of the day. It's just a suggestion, and you're on mute, but it's just a suggestion. I don't say lock of the century, 5-star hammer, nothing like that. It's just a suggestion.
My counterpoint to that, Chop, is Charlie Blackmon, like whatever sort of good BBP he has against Logan Webb, that was when he was good, and Webb was not as good as he is today. You know what I mean? Probably.
And my counterpoint would be they're in Coors Field, so maybe he has more outs than just the BVP. You know what I mean? Like there's a path there that he could be okay.
By the way, weather update. Roth will be on in about 15 minutes or so. It looks a little bit more promising in Colorado. We're looking at a straight yellow now, so he's lowering the risk in Colorado. So maybe that opens up the possibility of working in some Logan Webb as well. Green, yellow in Atlanta. Atlanta has those typical pop-ups, but probably nothing to be terribly concerned with. I'm sure Roth probably has an eye on what's going on in Washington, but to our knowledge, Washington's going to play without issue. I don't know if they have any sort of smog issues. I know somebody in chat mentioned it. Other places like Toronto has a dome. They're just closing the dome. And, we should be good to go. We're down to 9. We're probably going to stay at 9. Let me scroll up in chat and knock out a bunch of these questions. I apologize. I missed some. If I did not get your question, feel free to ask it again. Here's a pitching question I missed. Taillon or Blanco? Steven wants to know that this is the hold your nose SP2. Jameson Taillon or Blanco? Your preference amongst those two? Obviously, neither are necessarily a great option.
Oh, you want me to answer that?
Yeah, I'm the host. You're the analyst.
My goodness, that is. What side is that on? Because there's got to be.
There's no more details beyond that.
In a total vacuum, Blanco. Oh, and you know what? Now Taillon. I don't know, man. Dean, I don't know. Let me see here. Hold on. At LA, what's the marine layer like tonight? I don't know.
We gotta hit up Boggs Light or something. I don't know, man.
Taillon's just bad. I mean, he's just bad. Let's go Blanco. Blanco's gonna either get ran out of that game by the 3rd inning, and you'll get Mitch Keller type points, or he'll get you through 5 with a chance at a win and a handful of strikeouts, and he pays off that salary, and you feel great about it. So it's one or the other. I'll go Blanco just because there's something there. Taillon, he's been around for quite a while. I think we know who he is. He kind of stinks.
Monty brought up a point I was going to bring up. You were talking about Blanco, and you're talking about the catchers as well. If I'm playing Blanco, and I'm probably not, but if I was, I'd probably want the more experienced catcher back there in Maldonado, but Diaz is the catcher. Is that something it's either going to play him or you're not, right? It's not going to chase you away, but ideally, I suppose you want. And I don't know who the better framer is, like Carty can tell you that. But I would imagine that Maldonado is the better catcher amongst the two.
Well, Maldonado is one of the best in the game. So he's better, but as an Astros insider, I can tell you that Diaz has made big-time strides in his defensive catching game, thanks to Maldonado, who helps out the younger guys. So he's not bad. Maldonado is absolutely an ace at that, but Yanier Diaz has made strides, so he's fine. Dean, question for you.
Yeah.
From me, question. Meansies, talk about a little thing behind the scenes. Andy Means, he's cracking the whip on me, old Andy Means. I got to get my CVR updated because of the So I need an 8th third baseman. Who's my number 8 third baseman, Dean? Give me your best number 8 third baseman.
What side are we on?
DraftKings.
Okay. Third base specifically, Longoria is really, really cheap on DK. He's really cheap on Fanduel as well. He's a lefty facing what's his name? Jeez, I'm forgetting the guy's name. Throwing baseballs today for Washington. Why am I forgetting it? Getting his initials.
Corbin? Is it Corbin?
Yes, Patrick Corbin. Total brain fart. I guess I was not ready for that. Yeah, so I like Longoria. Taylor is really cheap as well. I think I'm actually pulling it up and see who you may be missing. Who do you not have?
Yeah, who
ranked?
am I missing? Because
Austin Riley. I think Austin Riley.
Oh, you think Austin Riley gets a piece of Max Scherzer today?
I don't assume he does, but he certainly can.
Oh, but there's Max always gives up a solo homer or two, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Davis,
let's plug in Riley then. I'm updating. I'm going Austin Riley.
Yeah. They're going to go around the horn in the crunch time in about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, and get their favorite place position by position. But yeah, I like Longo. He's my favorite actually point per dollar guy as a punt. I just think he kind of makes stuff work, and he still has some power against historically a really, really good lefty masher, but there's still a little bit left in that tank for him. I see more questions loading up in chat. I want to jump back to those. All right, they're talking about wrestling. I did miss that part. I had a question all ready to go, and I was going to ask. Oh, I wanted to note the Cincinnati lineup has changed, right? And they jumped up. Will Benson's leading off now at 2.3K. And I want to see if he has the ability to steal bases.
Fire him up, Dean.
What do you have as far as Benson? I think he's got some power. I'm not sure.
Noah Syndergaard leading off 2.3. Go for it, man.
I meant he's a big boy, 6'5", 230, 24 years old. He's got 70 raw power and actually 55, 50 speed as well. So there's a lot of power in that bat. He hasn't really shown it in the majors. In his career in the majors, not a lot of power at all, but for sure against Thor, I'm good with it. Good ballpark as well. I wanted to find the quote that Syndergaard basically was just like saying, kind of just like conceding that he's no longer any good. It's like, he was essentially saying, man, I wish I had the stuff I used to have, more or less. I don't know if you saw the same quote that I did, but essentially coming out and saying, I kind of stink now.
Very self-aware man, and I have to say, sometimes I look in the mirror and say, I wish I had the stuff I used to have too, Dean.
Yeah. There's a country song. What's the name of that country song? I have to say,
I see it in chat. I see Showboat King. Shout out to Showboat King in there. He says he's going to send me another swag package. He is the guy who sent me probably the best swag package I've ever gotten from anybody in the DFS industry, Dean.
What did he hook you up with?
It was a few years ago, and actually it was right before COVID hit, man. So it was perfect timing. He sent me this swag because I guess he knows, my thing about the germs and all that.
Yeah.
A phone sanitizer, UV light phone sanitizer, a whole big old thing, man. It was just what an excellent package he sent me, Dean. Put it to use every day. Even today, I still use it 3 years later. Meanwhile, in my closet back there, I got like wine glasses from DK from 4 years ago. What am I going to do with wine glasses? And
you're not a wine guy, right? I feel like you're not a wine guy.
And a little beach bag. What am I going to do with a beach bag?
You got that, right? The hat. You got the ridiculous hat somewhere in the house?
Seriously, DraftKings, I appreciate everything, but
the blanket's nice.
The blanket they sent a few months ago was really nice.
Yeah.
Props to them for the blanket. The wine glasses, that's going to be, I'm sending that to Dan Bach for the next garage sale.
I think I gave them to somebody. I can't remember what I did with them. I don't believe I have them anymore. I think I gave them away, just like you're going to re-gift them to somebody else as well. I didn't re-gift. I just say, here, you can have them, that kind of thing. I'm not that guy. You a re-gifter, Chop? You're not the type, are you?
Love a good re-gift if I can get away with it.
What? Really?
I get things out of my hair, so to speak. I don't have much.
Yeah.
Hair. I get things out of this room, out of this house, and I make somebody else happy. How can I, bringing people joy, Dean? That's what it's all about. I don't know if I ever told you about Walter, my college roommate back in the day.
No.
Yeah, I was in the car with him one day, and we're just driving down the street in Galveston because he's from Galveston too. So, and then he sees this old lady driving, pulls up next to, gives her a honks at this old lady and gives her a wave. I say, I'm looking at him like, what? That's an old lady, man.
A polite honk?
Yeah, gives her a little honk and a wave and a wink, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh.
He goes, man, I just made her day. Like, what? Perfect. Yeah, excellent, man. Make people happy.
Probably.
Make people happy. Make people happy, Dean.
If you honk at me randomly, I'm startled first. There was an old comedian bit. I think it was Mitch Hedberg. Like, there should be like two different honks. Like one that like a polite cough. Like, or no, I think his bit was you only have 3 honks a week or 3 honks a month. That's what it was. I'm mixing up my bits, but yeah, there should be 2 different kind of horns because they all startle me. And she didn't know his intent. She was just probably scared.
No, believe me. She was not scared, Dean. I know the look.
All right, fair enough. Now, if you paid that forward, are you now honking at random
I do.
women on the
Sometimes
road?
I do, Dean. Sometimes when I'm feeling spicy, I give him a little honk if the wife's not in the car. Sometimes even when the wife's in the car, I give him a little honk. I let her know there's nothing going on there, but I just made the lady's day.
If your intent is pure and it's not
exactly
shady, yeah, you should be able to do it in front of the wife, I suppose. Mr. Richards got a question for you. Playing single entry contest on DraftKings, what stack is best? Mr. Richards likes Arizona. Single entry contest, Chop. We know how this works. The chalk gets condensed, right? So we're going to see a lot of San Fran and a lot of Dodgers. He's talking about Arizona. I'm fine with that. That's not too far off the board, and it's going to play well, I think, on DK. Walker might grab some ownership. He's got a pretty good price over there. Walker is one of my favorite hitters on the board. Just that righty power. Nice ballpark. Just a really, really good spot. Your thoughts as far as Arizona?
Yeah, they're fine. Corbin, he's been prone, although he's been better lately, and they have a good lineup. I don't mind Arizona, but honestly, it's weird to me, questions like that, because, I can look at the San Francisco lineup or the Dodgers lineup, and you can put together a 4-man stack and just use some of the less chalky players if you feel good about it. You don't have to go with Mookie Betts and JD Martinez or whoever's the highest owned guys in those lines. You can get down at the bottom of the order and still come away with some pretty good stacks. But Arizona's fine. If I'm in a single entry tonight, let me look at some. Oh yeah, I'm for sure using Cincinnati. You can guarantee one of my 3 lineups will be all Cincinnati.
Well, at least 5 or 4, depending on where you're playing.
Yeah, 5. You know what I mean. When I say all Cincinnati, that means 5-man stack.
Somebody in chat said they got De La Cruz as still a base at 4-1 last night. That seems outrageous. Like if he's on, he's going to go.
If he gets on first base, guaranteed that man steals a base. Guaranteed.
The worst is like what's more. You're about the things that tilt you. When your guy clearly has the base stolen and the hitter like swings and fouls it off or whatever, just let the guy get the stolen base and you can knock him in. Especially if there's like a 1-0 count, right? I know you love the pitch, but whatever. Let the guy steal the base.
You get a guy like De La Cruz, a guy a guy's gonna steal if he gets on base, if he gets on first. But then by the time he gets on first, he's actually landlocked. That sucks too when he gets landlocked.
Oh, like the catcher or something on second base that you're talking about?
Yeah, somebody's in front of him that's not gonna help him run. So that happens, and that stinks too. Hey, Dean, we have a celebrity in chat. Looks like Fernando Rodney. I think that's the real guy. The real Fernando Rodney is in chat.
Can you adjust your hat to how would Fernando Rodney wear his hat? You know how he would wear his hat, right? Can you do it, Chop?
I can't.
Just a hat adjustment.
My earpieces are in, Dean. They'll go everywhere, but Fernando Rodney was great back in the day. I can't believe he's playing DFS now.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know if he mismanaged his money. I mean, he was around for a long time. He must have got paid.
Could just be a hobby, Dean.
That's a fair point.
Broke. Dean's saying Fernando Rodney broke. If Fernando Rodney is broke, I doubt he's playing DFS to pay the bills.
He might get more broke depending on. Andrew's talking about the Reds as well. I like the Reds a good bit. I'm still really kind of shocked at the Scherzer ownership. I want to get a refresh on that. I hope that holds mostly true. I understand it's a tough matchup, but you sim this 1,000 times, 500 times, however times you want to sim it. I don't think that Burns outplays him to the rate the ownership is suggesting. We got Burns at 38%. Scherzer has jumped up, I think, since the 13, right? He's at 13%. Burns is not outscoring him 3-1, right? I don't think so. Do you think so? I think it's a little closer.
Definitely not. I'm definitely on the same thought process as you are, Dean.
Byron wants to know about Kramer in tournaments on Fanduel, Chop. He's asking you specifically. How do you feel about Kramer on Fanduel specifically? We kind of touched on him, but doesn't sound like you like him a ton.
Oh, man. I would just rather, what do you say, tournaments? And
yes,
is this a single entry? It just one on Fanduel?
That's all I got. All I got for you.
I can't do it. I can't do it. Not on Fanduel. You only get one pitcher on Fanduel, and you kind of got to make it count. And I don't think Kramer's the guy to make it count. Like if a guy's running 100 lineups on Fanduel, then let's pick our top, 8 guys, and let's spread out the ownership between. And I don't think Kramer makes that cut. And if you're just running one lineup, then no way does he get in there because you only got one lineup and you need to hit your pitcher and just take a chance on any of these other guys. So no, Kramer not doing it for me.
I don't know what's going on in the chat about the Ronnie Dangerfield line with T from LOC, but there you go. Ronnie Dangerfield, of course, gets no respect. What's the best Ronnie Dangerfield movie? You got it off the dome?
The old school thing, back to school. Yeah.
Thornton.
No, I mean, that was a good movie, but I mean, there's nothing. I don't know if he wasn't a main guy, but Caddyshack is obviously the cream of the crop.
Yeah. Several people are talking about the Baltimore stack. It could be a leverage stack if you want to play that route as well. We're expecting a fair bit of ownership on Burns. I don't know, man. I don't think. I'm not making enough lineups to play Baltimore. I'm not here to discourage Baltimore, but I'm not playing enough to get there. What's your thoughts as far as Baltimore?
Yeah, I don't. I think they could give him a hard time. I think I don't want to take a whole bunch of Corbin Burns because I think the lineup is good enough to give him a hard time. But I definitely don't need to stack Baltimore tonight. I also see Fernando Rodney says he is not broke, Dean. He is just struggling.
Who would make such allegations?
So he'd be listening. To these takes. So. He's in good shape. Dean, also, before we get out of here, I got to give it my triple G play of the day, Dean.
What do you got?
We didn't get to that. I'm going Casey Schmidt, bottom of the order. Give me a bottom of the guy said we can't play San Francisco because of the ownership. Well, let's take somebody who might not be his own. Looking down there, 7, 8, 9, not as up. And Casey Schmidt's he's got a little bit of juice in that bat, a little life in that bat. So let's go Schmidt tonight.
Somebody was asking about the Guardians. We haven't really acknowledged their existence. They are playing baseball tonight against Cutter Crawford, which is an awesome name for a pitcher, for the record. The Cleveland lineup is, I don't know, man. Even J-Ram's not been great this year. Where is the upside for Cleveland is sort of my question. You need Quan to have 3 advents. He's got to steal a couple bases, get 2 or 3 hits. What do you have as far as the Guardians this evening?
Don't like it, Dean. Don't like it. I mean, I don't know. I guess if you're at 150 lineups in one of these things, you could throw some in there. But yeah, they haven't been good. And you say he hasn't been good. Yeah, J-Ram's been flat out big time disappointment this year compared to what we think we're going to see from him. So I'm not on that one, Dean. There's too many other just super high-powered offenses for me to get out there and play some of these marginal Baltimore, Cleveland stacks. I mean, I think I might get 7 or 8 stolen bases from Cincinnati tonight. So give me something like that all day, every day over some of these other marginal teams.
Cincy's like top 5 in the league as far as stealing. I know that's one of the things they talk about at the beginning of the season in spring training, the new rules and just kind of the way that their construction of their lineup. So I don't know if they're going to get 7 or 8, but I absolutely agree they're going to be doing their best. As long as Syndergaard's out there and opportunity presents itself, I think they're going to be flying on the bases. Good question here. Favorite one-off for the Dodgers? We like the Dodgers tonight. And how do how do you answer? I mean, Betts is probably the best, or JD Martinez, like one of those two. Freddie is probably best in stacks, but surely you can play Freddie as a one-off at all times. But do you have an answer as far as your favorite one-off for the Dodgers this season?
Just raw points. Obviously, one of those guys at the top for just factoring in some ownership and all that other stuff. Maybe Miguel Vargas. Maybe I'm also being incepted by the bat who loves Miguel Vargas typically, but let's go Miguel Vargas. I mean, Carty can help me. Carty can help me with that question since he's here now. It seems like, and we've talked about this with Roughneck Odor before. There are guys the bat like projects, pretty high. It seems like all the time. Vargas is one of them. What's up with Vargas? Why is that happening? Carty, tell us what's up with Vargas.
I mean, Vargas is a good hitter. The bat is projecting him to do basically exactly what he's done so far this year. He plays on one of the best offenses in baseball. He plays at the worst position in fantasy. He's always way too cheap. He's going to be like 3K every night for some reason. And the matchup today especially is probably the best or second best matchup that anyone can have.
All right.
He's a rookie though, Carty. Rookies are not allowed to be good.
Let's go Vargas then. Let's go Vargas.
Yeah, rookies generally don't project awesome. But rookies with good plate discipline generally tend to translate a little bit better. And it's not like the bat thinks he's like a great hitter. It thinks he's like a little above average, which is exactly what he's been so far.
Bringing in Kirkwood as well. Got the call up to the big squad as in addition to chief mineralogist Kevin Roth. We did get a downgrade in cores. A little bit nervous. I want to hear your thoughts as far as cores. Hopefully you're feeling better, Roth. I hope you're feeling better today as well.
Yeah, shout out to TJ. Like TJ saved me. I was not going to make it yesterday, so I was a 9 out of 10 dead yesterday, and now I'm like 3 out of 10 dead, so I'm good.
All right, you're climbing back. Thanks for jumping in. We want to know about what's going on in Colorado. Is there anything worth worrying about? I know Washington is a goofy team, smog-wise or weather-wise, when it comes to the Nationals. We're just assuming they're going to play. I'm not trying to stir up anything, but I know Toronto, it's spreading, right? Is that an issue there in Washington, or we're good to go? The Yankees, of course, they canceled their game, but what are we looking at? Anything else we're keeping our eyes? Yeah, Phillies, not on our slate, but yeah, that's the other one I was thinking of too.
Gotcha. So yeah, those two games are already out, and the Nationals have already said they're going to play. The air quality there does look a lot better than Philly or New York. So I think everything else is going to be good for tonight. This whole pattern, though, isn't over with. So we'll see what comes in the days to come. But the wildfires are still ongoing. That low pressure is still over there pumping in the smoke. So we're not done with this narrative yet.
All right. Want to hear what you have to say about cores as well. We're going to bring in Kirkwood, and myself and Chopper are going to step aside. But I am curious. Roth, do you know, is this the first time you're going to hear the word? Do you know what a juggalo is? Have we talked about this on a previous show with you, or no?
Yeah, it's an ICP fan, right?
Juggalo for life.
It's more of a lifestyle.
Yeah. Am I going to get juggalo bombs?
Well, there you go. That's I wasn't sure if you've heard those before, because Kirkwood typically on the previous show, but yeah. Kirkwood, I imagine you have some of those on layaway. Chopping, anything else with the boys before you step aside and make way for the Fanduel sponsored Crunch Time?
No, I'm just going to be tuning in for that Juggalo suggestion of the day.
That doesn't sound nearly. I don't want to play the suggestion. I want to play the Juggalo bomb. That guy's going to homer. The Juggalo suggestion? Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks anyways. All right. That's Chopper. I was Dean. Fanduel sponsored Crunch Time. You got Carty. You have Juggalo bombs. You have Kirkwood, and you have Roth. Roth, take it away.
I think I might have smoke bombs coming up later in the show, so stay tuned for that. Good stuff as always, guys. Hey, welcome to it. This is Crunch Time. It is sponsored by FanDuel. It is the show where we have two of the sharpest minds in the biz helping to walk us up through lock, two lock, and then oftentimes through lock. We got Derek Carty, a.k.a. Derek Carty, the creator, inventor, and CEO of The Bat. Carty, we were in each other's DMs this morning talking about smoke and air density and all this. You feel like you got a good handle on what's happening with this?
Yeah, I mean, the New York and the Philly game getting postponed kind of, takes away the big stuff for us. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, how do you account for it in a projection? And you kind of told me the stuff to look for, and I have 3 different weather feeds that feed into the bat, and none of them have the thing you told me to look for.
That's always a good time. Yeah. But like you said, I think it would matter if the air quality was very poor and they played. But if the air quality is as poor as it would take for it to matter, I think you get what happened today and they just won't play.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's something that really needs to be that factored in, but I love that you were digging into it, man. I think that's really cool. Certainly want to get your takes here on cash as we go through the slate, but also got to say what's up to Kirk. What's happening, man? How are you?
Yo, I'm good. Sorry, the big fondue is not on the schedule today. I got the call up, but I'll try to do my best here.
We appreciate it. Maybe someone said maybe he's sick. Michael Zimmerman said,
I've never heard that as a nickname before, but we need to make that a thing.
Yeah, cheese. It's Dave Potts, right? And we call him cheese. So cheese pots. What's a cheese pot? It's fondue. Perfect sense, right?
It's
and then who's a bigger fondue than cheese?
No, he is the big fondue. It's an incredible nickname. Michael Zimmerman says Roth sets the record for most days being sick. Spoken like someone who doesn't have 2 toddlers in daycare. All right, like I went like 10 years with never getting sick, and then you get those toddlers in daycare and you're screwed. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm pulling out of it. Anywho, Peter says, "Hey Kirkwood, I'm glad you are here." That's kind of him.
Hey, thank you.
Yep. Somebody else says, "Hey Kirk, how's the baby doing?"
Baby's doing great. So that's the thing when you said daycare. I have no daycare. I am daddy daycare. At this point, we're having discussions now about potentially 2 days a week or something. Giving a little more focus. But I'm trying to do it all.
Yeah,
I love it. So I love and hate it. I love it and I hate it.
That's it. It brings out the highest highs and the lowest lows. It's really truly living. That there's no doubt about that. But hey, people are not here to hear us wax poetic on young children. They're here to hear us walk them and talk them through the slate. So let's dive into that content here. Carty, you mind giving me an overview if maybe all I've looked at all day was smoke numbers across the country and not baseball content?
Yeah, no, I totally get you there. Yeah, this slate is incredibly gross for pitching. And there is a lot to like at hitting. This is probably the best slate for hitting in terms of just like the sheer number of teams that project like really, really well that maybe I've seen all year. So this is, it's going to be that kind of day where you're going to have to suck it up and play probably some gross pitching, but it's all gross. So I think it's a really interesting dynamic because you're going to be able to play some gross, weird stuff and be different and not that much worse in terms of projection.
Yeah. Okay. That does bring up a good point that I meant to mention off the top. There is one game that has some slight weather concern. That would be in Colorado. Carty, I imagine that's one of those games where you're looking at.
Yeah, we like that one. If you were to tell me there might be like a mid-game rain delay, though, I'd be pretty psyched about that for bets today.
It's certainly possible. And that's when Dean mentioned I downgraded it. That was the downgrade. Is this morning there was just a mess of scattered storms all over. And I was like, I could see a way where this could go wrong enough for it to be postponed. And now with the latest model guidance coming in, I think it would take some extreme bad luck for it to get postponed. So I feel more confident about bats. There's still a chance of a delay there, but it's just kind of some spotty storms.
Yeah, I got some pitching under, so I'd be pretty thrilled with a delay, and it wouldn't obviously impact DFS because you're not playing the pitchers there.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So what's that?
Maybe I stand corrected.
We're considering a pitcher there for GPPs. I mean, the best pitcher on the slate, probably. Just the fact that it's in cores.
Yeah.
All right.
Logan Webb.
Okay.
I mean, I would throw Dean Chevelson against Colorado. And so if that's the case, Logan Webb I have to at least consider it.
All right, let's walk through kind of starting at scratch with pitchers. Carty, you said there's no really good options. So what are we doing with the bad options that we have?
So, I mean, we have one pretty good option. It's Corbin Burns. Like Corbin Burns is like the only actual good pitching play on this slate. And it's not like he's amazing, but he's a pretty good pitching play. He's got a long leash. He's really good, even though this season he hasn't been awesome. He's been better of late. Track record, regression, the whole deal. Like on a slate like this, you can't worry about Corbin Burns' talent. Like he's in a pretty good spot. He's Corbin Burns. and everyone else is dog duty. So you just pay up for Corbin Burns on both sites, basically, in cash games. Then the question is, who are you pairing him with on DraftKings and who are you pivoting to in GPPs? I don't think there's like a right answer for the cash game question. I think there's several options. So Tanner Bibee, however you pronounce his name, is fine just because like he's a decent pitcher. Boston's taking a park downgrade. It's really one of those slates where like there's nothing that you're really excited about after Burns. So you can play Bibee. I'm fine also just going down and playing something cheap like Jaime Barria because he's 7K, he's against the Cubs, and why not? Because when you look after Burns, the difference between the next guy and like the next, 8 to 10 is probably like 3 points of projection, which is not a lot. So just going down and playing the cheapest one in Barria, I think is totally fine to do. On FanDuel, you get an even bigger discount on Barria. He's 6.2K on FanDuel. I don't think you play him in cash because I just don't think you do it. But in GPPs, Barria is really good. And then after that, you can kind of just take your shots. It looks like ownership is going to be mostly spread out. We'll probably see it the most on Morton and Bibee, I would think. So if you want to take a shot on Chris Bassett against Houston or John Gray against St. Louis, or to save even more money, you can play a guy like Dean Kramer or Jack Flaherty, or even Jamison Tyone on DraftKings at 5.5, I think is viable in tournaments. It's just that kind of day where everything's gross. So play something gross.
Okay. It's like you go to a bar late at night and you're looking for a lady and there's no good options.
Well, see, here's the thing. You don't actually have to take, you don't have, you know what?
Well, in theory, that was just, I don't know why that's the first thing that came to mind, but if everything's gross, you got to play something gross. I get it. Okay, Kirk, what are we doing here GPP wise, man?
You got to grade with a curve. Is probably a better way to put it. But yeah, so I hear with Carty saying, so Corbin Burns is probably the number one play on the slate for pitcher. Basically, to me, it comes down to, first of all, has he struggled this season? Yes. Has he? But like 4 out of his last 5 games have all been decent. He had one blip up against Houston, which is a tough matchup. His command has been a little bit off, and with the walks, and that's a concern. But he's kind of improving, and his strikeouts have been pretty good the last couple of games. 7 and 8 in his last 2. He's got a long leash. He went 100 pitches in his last start. So I think he was good to go. It's really about the matchup too. This is a watered down without Mullins in this Baltimore lineup. This is a watered down Baltimore lineup.
It's true. It's a below average offense.
Yes. Yeah. And yes, Aaron Hicks homered yesterday, but he has been the worst hitter in baseball this season up until this point. Maybe a chain of scenes where he was good. He couldn't take the New York pressure, whatever. He's been bad. He's old. He should be bad. So this lineup stinks. So I think we were on the same page there for the number one. It's really what you want to do. I think there's 2 ways you can even go in cash, to be honest with you. I think you can, I agree with Carty. You can play Bibee against the Red Sox. And for me, it comes out the Red Sox decent offense, but it's really the 1 through 4. That back end strikes out a lot, and Bibee's shown some good K stuff already. He's got a 25% K rate. His walks have been pretty decent. His last start was probably the worst. But, in Boston typically doesn't K a lot, but if you just look at 5 through 9, they're all K'ing at about 25 to 30%, somewhere in that range on this season. So the matchup is good. I'm on board with going against my Red Sox. I think you can, on DraftKings anyway, you can make a case to play Max Scherzer. He hasn't been the same Max Scherzer. He's 25% K rate. We're combining the last 2 years. He's up to just about 30%, but the walks have been great. Still elite. He's still 4.9% walks, which is good. Atlanta's a tough matchup, sure. But they don't strike out a ton, but Max got a ton of whiffs on his four-seamer. His four-seamer was back velocity-wise in his last start against Philly. And this is Max Scherzer. It's only like the only thing that he's been missing right now is getting the whiffs on his slider. And this is the guy who's had like the most elite slider, one of the most elite sliders in baseball for a long time. So he's going to be fine is the way I look at it. So I think you can go and you can fit them either way. So I think either way is fine with me. And then in tournament options, it's Max, Burns, Morton. I like Webb some because that's just he's a great pitcher, and if anyone can pinpoint command and cores, I think he's the type of pitcher that can do it. And cores stinks, so Babbitt could go his way, and he could have a good start. So I like that. Bassett, I think, is in play. John Gray is in play. The strikeouts are way down. He's got an elite slider. That's pretty much all he has, but good pitcher. Bybee, like I said, and then Berea would be the one. I think that's pretty much it for pitcher. I think if you want to get a little frisky on FanDuel, you could go down to this hit or miss Astros pitcher, Blanco. I wouldn't. I mean, this isn't for Toronto is my favorite stack, like top 3 favorite stack today. So this is not something I recommend. But for GPPs, I think paying $5,200 for a pitcher with some potential strikeout upside is in play. To get all the big bats.
But in general, you'd rather just spend an extra $1,000 to get Berea.
Yeah, he's up to he's up to 7,000 on FanDuel, so there's a little more savings there. But on DK, yes, that's why you kind of stopped the list on DraftKings with Berea. Yeah,
gotcha. Okay, very good. All right, hey, let's talk about some of the stacks. Also, is it possible we can end the show, all of us, with the cute baby in arms?
I don't think Derek. I mean, dude, you have a. I don't know what Derek's going to do. Derek doesn't have a baby. I think Roth, you thought he had a baby on one show.
I don't have a baby.
Okay. I'm so confused. I'm so confused on this. All right. Never mind. Derek doesn't have a baby. What's up?
2 of us could, I think.
All right. Yeah. All right. All right. Hey, let's talk about stacks. Let's talk about bats. Kirkwood, you can bring it up.
All right. I always look at the bat stuff too. So it's so if you look today, what kind of jumped out as me is that Vegas and the bat are pretty much on alignment here today. I think, and I'll let Carty to speak to that, but I think it's just common sense, really, what the stacks are, what the good spots, and obviously anything is in play for baseball, but the Dodgers are the best. You can say it's the Dodgers or the Giants in the top 2. One or the other, and Giants obviously in cores against Sebald, and the Dodgers facing Brandon Williamson, who had a decent start in his last start, but if you looked under the hood, first of all, that was against Milwaukee, who has just been terrible. They just have not figured out hitting this season, and Williamson does not project to be a good starter in baseball. So the Dodgers, this is a great park for home run. The Dodgers have an elite offense. So there should be a ton of runs there. Like I said, I like the Blue Jays to kind of bounce back here against the Astros, what they did a couple of days. I could see the Blue Jays scoring a ton of runs in this one. Then I like the Diamondbacks. Patrick Corbin, someone we always attack. We don't really the lefties are in the lineup. We don't really have to worry about pinch hit risk with them, with the ones that are in. I think the one guy, because it's going to be a righty coming in, I think the one guy is what's the guy's name who's going to have all the pinch hit risk? Let me just pull it up here. I never play him. Emmanuel Rivera, batting third. He's probably the pinch hit risk in this game for me, but you can steal on Corbin. You can hit power against Corbin. The Washington bullpen has the highest Sierra on the slate, highest home run per 9 on the slate. So, and the thing about the Diamondbacks, anybody who's been playing this season, I mean, they work for your money, right? They're running the bases when they get on base. So they have a bunch of guys who are steal happy. Ketel Marte has always hit lefties better. Carroll is going to run. And then down at the bottom of the order for the wraparound stack, Jake McCarthy's going to run too. So I think there's a lot of upside in that.
Okay. Carty, your favorite stacks?
Yeah, so I agree with Kirkwood. Giants and Dodgers are kind of like the top two. They're both in fantastic spots. They're going to carry, I think, kind of the chalk ownership here, and then anything else is going to get you fairly different. But there's lots of other good stuff, so you don't have to play Giants and Dodger stacks. You can, especially if you're doing weird stuff with pitching. Especially if you're doing like a non-Corbin Burns lineup, like you can stack Giants and Dodgers. But the Reds, I think, are fantastic tonight on the other side from the Dodgers because it's such a good park. It's good weather. Noah Syndergaard is bad and is the easiest pitcher in the universe to steal bases against. I like the Diamondbacks call. I think the Blue Jays, the Cardinals, the Rockies, they're all in play. And I even think the Braves against Max Scherzer, certainly with some isolated one-offs, but even as a stack or a mini stack, I think is totally viable.
Okay. Hey, let's go position by position. Carty, start us off with a little catcher talk, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So, top guy tonight is Will Smith, kind of in a tier of his own, because he's, not only one of the best hitting catchers in baseball, just one of the best hitters in baseball. He hits third in the lineup for one of the best offenses in baseball. They go into Cincinnati, Great American Ballpark. It's an amazing park. It's good weather. He's got platoon advantage against a bad pitcher, Williamson. He's expensive, but you can definitely just spend up for Will Smith tonight, and I think you probably should. Even on Fanduel, where you don't have to play a catcher, I think he's viable because he's probably the second best option on FanDuel, even when you throw in the first baseman. And the best option is his teammate, who's an actual first baseman. So Will Smith is awesome. If you need to save money tonight at catcher, don't do it in cash games. But if you need to, you have Tyler Stevenson on the other side, who's fine. You have Gabriel Moreno, who's 2.9 on DraftKings. He's fine. And then you can definitely do some one-off type stuff in GPPs. Like I mentioned, Atlanta one-offs. I think Sean Murphy is going to be really interesting tonight. I think Wilson Contreras. That's the kind of stuff I'd be looking at. Even honestly, I think Adley Rutschman against Burns is an awesome one-off in GPPs because you get leverage. He projects pretty well, and he's going to be super low owned.
Nice, I like it. Kirkwood, your thoughts on catcher?
Yeah, I think it's Will Smith. Obviously, is the clear number one. I think if you're trying to beat him, a guy like Sean Murphy, even against Max, has upside. Just a good overall hitter. I think you can play Rutschman, like you said. You're gonna want some power upside. If you're going cheap, I like Diaz for Houston. It's we don't have the best of the best matchups here tonight to really but he would be the guy. He's 2,900. He's a pretty decent hitter. He's batting sixth. That's pretty much all I need to hear. Gabriel Moreno, the former Blue Jay. Is he the former Blue Jay? Is he in that? I don't know. Regardless, I think he's the former Blue Jay. Anyway, 2,900 against Corbin. Batting eighth isn't ideal, but there's some power upside there with him. But like always, catcher, Will Smith is so far and away the clear play. You play him if you can get to him, and the rest is just like pick your poison or just play your stacks.
Yeah. All right. First base.
Okay, I'll start this one. Lamont Wade Jr., obviously great play tonight. Freddie Freeman is the top overall projected guy, even in the lefty. He's going to get some of that bullpen too. So I don't expect Williamson to be going long in this game. Your boy Shohei, first base eligible on DraftKings. My favorite play of the bunch, if you're playing point per dollar for salary, and just makes things work. Christian Walker, great numbers against left-handed batters every year. Power upside, good spot. So batting cleanup, gotta love that. Vlad is in play. You could even play Brandon Donovan for cheap, but he's also outfield eligible, first base or outfield for 2,800. I don't know if you believe that Brandon Belt. He was running the bases last night, which I thought was incredible. So I think that he's actually had a string of a couple of good games, but I think he tried to steal and then I think they fouled off the pitch or something. But just he's got to be healthy if he's trying to run here. I think that's a good sign. But he's 2,500. There's probably worse plays if you need a punt there for a potential home run upside against Blanco. But I'll let. And then there's Steer batting fifth for Cincinnati. You have to like that. He's got some pop, but Derek will have some more plays.
Carty, you got more? That was a lot of plays. No, you're muted. You're muted, homie. You're muted, Holmes. Carty, you're muted.
I am muted. All right.
There you go. Try again. You were animated coming out of that too. You were ready.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, especially with the high end guys. Like Freddie Freeman is easily the top guy, even though it's lefty. It really doesn't matter. He's awesome. If you can get up there, great. You don't have to though, because as Kirkwood said, there are some good value plays at first base, specifically Lamont Wade Jr. in Coors batting leadoff, and Christian Walker with the platoon advantage against Patrick Corbin. I prefer Wade, but they project pretty similarly. So in tournaments, Wade is going to carry more ownership. Walker is a better tournament play because he's just not going to be as looked at by people. I love the Matt Olson one-off against Max Scherzer today because Scherzer's big issue is long balls to lefties, and Olson's really good, and his ownership's going to be low. And I feel like Vladimir Guerrero today is getting a little bit lost in the shuffle too. He's against a weak pitcher. He's awesome. He's expensive. People aren't going to play him as much, but he's an elite one-off today.
Yeah. All right.
We left out one guy. Benson is now batting first for Cincy, and he's first base eligible. He's fast and also has some pop, which he hasn't shown quite yet in here since the call up, but he projects to have some pop. So he's batting first. He's 2,300. So I think you gotta, if you need it. I mean, it's a great game against Syndergaard too. I mean,
no, yeah.
Nice.
But second base. Want me to start?
Yeah, please. Yeah, go
okay.
for it.
Mookie, right? Got the platoon.
Where's Benson first base eligible?
On DraftKings, I thought. Unless someone put that in.
I haven't looked on the site, but in
outfield.
HQ,
Okay.
outfield. Okay.
You're right. Let me. Someone wrote that in chat, and I trust him. He might be Fanduel. Let me check there too.
I think he was just saying now that he's hitting first, not that he's playable at first.
Okay.
The confusion there. Yeah.
What it is. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I just assumed we were talking first base. Anyway, Mookie is the second base play. Estrada, both of them unbelievable. Kettle Marte. This position's kind of stacked tonight. India gets a big boost because of the Syndergaard matchup. He's batting third. Those are the big spends. The cheap one is Vargas, like Chop was asking Derek about at the beginning of the show. Kevin Newman, Schmidt, if you need to. These guys are cheaper down in the order, probably more GPP plays, but they're also in good spots, so they're decent plays. That is pretty much it for me.
Carty, any other names you want to add in there?
No, I mean, those are the big four. On FanDuel, where McMahon is second base eligible, he's kind of in the same mix as those guys. I don't think you need to get super weird and different, but if you want someone who's not one of the big four, I think Marcus Semien is good. But yeah, you don't have to get too weird at second. There's just a lot of good high-end options.
Yeah. All right. Take me to third.
Max Muncy is going to be our top guy at third because the Dodgers are awesome. Even though it's lefty-lefty, it really doesn't matter. I like the price better on DraftKings than I do on FanDuel, in part because on FanDuel we have Jose Ramirez, who's 3.3K. He's 500 less than Muncy on FanDuel. And yeah, he's not in the same matchup, but he's in a good one. On DraftKings, he's 400 more, so it's a different story. But I like Ramirez quite a bit on FanDuel. I like Matt Chapman quite a bit as a one-off. 3.2K on FanDuel, definitely big-time chance of hitting a home run today. On DK, if you need to save money, you have Moustakas in the lineup for Colorado for 3.5, and you have Longoria hitting fifth for Arizona at 2.8. And I think they're both really good. And yeah, Austin Riley as a one-off against Scherzer for super low ownership is fine. and that's kind of it. I mean, I guess on FanDuel we can have the Ellie De La Cruz conversation.
Yes.
Because I mean, he's an awesome play today. He's hitting cleanup for Cincinnati. We love Cincinnati. He's got speed to take advantage of Syndergaard. He's third base shortstop on FanDuel, and I think he's just shortstop on DK. But I think there's a case to be made for playing him at third on FanDuel, especially in a stack. So we should bring him up here, and then we'll talk about it again.
That freaking dude is so fast. Like, did you see the double that he hit what was it? I guess last night, his first night?
Right. Yeah.
He freaking flew. He flew to second base and was trying to stretch like a casual double into a triple and like decided not to.
And the reason he didn't is because he hit the ball so damn hard that it got there so damn fast. He hit it was like 112 miles per hour or whatever.
Yes.
The guy is sick.
Yeah, I could not believe like how fast he was and how hard he hit that ball. That guy looks freaking legit.
And now he's against Syndergaard.
And it's Syndergaard. Yeah. Like he'll steal from first to third in one swipe. Syndergaard.
By the time the throw gets to second base, he'll already
the old Billy Hamilton home run where he used to go to second to third. It was like
Kirkwood, any other names you want to add at third?
Not really. I just warn the people on the Longoria, Rivera both have significant pinch hit risk in this one. I'm not sure if both of them will get pulled, or maybe there's just one of them will get pulled. I can't tell you which one will be, but they're both in play to hit a home run. They're also both in play to be a pinch hit for pretty fast. I love the Ramirez call. The thing with Boston, they're pitching. They're having depth problem right now, and this is going to be, Cutter Crawford's not going to be going long in this one. It's going to be their bullpen. If they don't get smashed today, they're going to get smashed. Like they're going to end up with like really a lot of use in this bullpen over this series. So keep your eye on like a big eruption game. I think for Cleveland in one of these games. Might be tonight, might not be, but it's going to happen. I echo all those calls. Trying to think if there was someone little. Oh, we've got Arenado, who homered yesterday. The first person to homer, the first batter to homer against Dane Dunning this season.
No one's playing Arenado today.
Anyways, let's move it on over. So shortstop.
Real quick on the Ellie De La Cruz. Apparently, that was the hardest hit ball for Cincinnati all year, and the fastest anyone's gotten from home to second all year. In one guy's first game, he did like that's just incredible. Like that guy is just too damn legit. Bring us to
the only thing I'm worried about is I was like all on Aristides Aquino, another former Red that I was like, oh, this guy's gonna be he came in so firing hot and then fizzled. He's not even in the bigs now. But
this guy's different. He's different.
This is a top prospect.
Yeah.
All right, shortstop. Ellie De La Cruz on DraftKings. Number one, Matt McLean, same team. Way to get a little bit different, pay more. Another guy who's got upside for sure. If you're paying up, like if you want to go up higher, obviously you can play Bo Bichette, but like no one's going to play Corey Seager tonight, just because Flaherty, has a decent name, but hasn't quite been himself, but has come back a little bit and showed signs of life here recently. His velocity was back up a little bit in this last game. But Corey Seager is a good spot for a home run. Might be a Juggalo bomb pick. I don't know. Brandon Crawford batting number 9, and just because it's in cores. I don't know. The shortstop is it's really all about De La Cruz.
Yeah. Carty, thoughts at short?
Yeah, I mean, De La Cruz projects as the second best shortstop on the slate straight up. And the difference between his projection and the top guy, Corey Seager, is 0.01 DraftKings points. And Corey Seager costs 5.9K and De La Cruz costs 2.7K. So you do the math. He's awesome. You play him on both sites, no matter what, in cash, or you're terrible. And after that, it's kind of just like GPP stuff to be different. You have the Mookie Betts thing on FanDuel. You have Thairo Estrada. I like Seager quite a bit. I like Matt McLean a lot on DraftKings. where everyone's going to play De La Cruz because he's so much cheaper and young, like this prospect that just came up or whatever. But Matt McLain projects just as well. The only thing is the price, but you're going to get him at a lot lower ownership. And so I love him there. On FanDuel, not quite as much, just because you can play De La Cruz at third. You can play McLain at short. I think in stacks, people will certainly do that. And if you're stacking Cincinnati, you should certainly do that. But yeah, and then Willie Adames I like quite a bit also as a power play.
Okay, I guess that brings us to the outfield, Carty.
Yep. So I guess first we'll mention the Coors guys, because the Giants especially are going to be really good options here tonight. On DraftKings in particular, you have Jock Peterson, you have Mitch Haniger. They're both pretty much elite plays tonight. Even on FanDuel, they're both really good plays as well. Then you have your Dodgers guys. You have Mookie Betts, who we've been talking about. Probably not playing him in the outfield, but he is eligible here. You can do that if you want to. You have Chris Taylor, who's 2.8 on DraftKings. You have Johnny DeLuca, who's the minimum on FanDuel, 2K. You have on the other side of that game, Kirkwood mentioned him earlier, but Will Benson is, I believe, outfield only. But he's leading off for Cincinnati tonight. He's 2-1 on FanDuel. He's 2-3 on DraftKings. He's a fantastic play. And then you have, I think, more GPP stuff that you're doing in stacks or as one-offs, like Ronald Acuna against Scherzer, I think is going to be overlooked. Ohtani is probably going to be a little bit overlooked tonight. Yordan Alvarez. Like, you can play this stuff just to, really good guys that are just going to get overlooked because the really good teams have so much to like in the outfield that people are going to flock to.
Yeah. Kirkwood, some other names for me?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm sure he said this, but I'll say it again, reiterate. It's JD Martinez.
I forgot to mention him, but yeah, he's good.
Okay. I assumed that you mentioned him just because he's such a good play. But, and it's only because he's hot. He's El Fuego right now.
Oh, my God. Kirkwood is just trying to get a rise out of me. Congratulations, dude. You did
six out of six homers in his last 8 games, I believe, or something like that, or 7 and 9 or something like that. Regardless, he's also facing a lefty, and he's a lefty masher.
Oh, God.
You know what? All right. It's in my contract. I'm not supposed to be able to do shows with people who do talk about lefty mashers and hot streaks. It's in there, all right?
Yeah. I'm just a
have you seen the BBB?
I'm just a substitute teacher today. So, oh no,
and he's out. And we drove him off the show. That's while Carty composes himself. Hit me up with a few more outfield names. Carty will eventually join us, maybe.
Johnny DeLuca is cheap at the bottom of the order, but a good prospect who's up here, and he's only 2,300. Yordan Alvarez usually would be the number one play. He's probably has the best odds to hit a home run tonight, even though it's against Bassett, but probably not going to be played at all. Corbin Carroll. Like I said, I don't think Corbin will last a ton in this game, but regardless, Corbin is easy to steal off for a left-handed pitcher. Corbin Carroll is going to run. I'm still wondering if this is real. Is Carty upset and leaving?
I think just need to call him back and talk.
Just need to blow off his steam.
Oh, he's good. He did.
Okay.
We needed to bring him back by talking about mathematics and sample size and things like that to calm him down a little bit. Any other names, Kirkwood? Do you feel like Shohei?
There
we go. It's in my contract.
Always Shohei.
Oh man. Hey, welcome back, Carty. Glad you're able to calm down a little bit. Just in time, because I want to talk some dongs. I'm going to get some Juggalo bombs, and I want some math bombs as well. So who is most likely to hit a homer tonight? And then give me somebody that's either a good bet or a low-owned DFS guy who's going to bomb. By the way, the smoke bomb of the day is Elly De La Cruz. He's hitting a home run.
Yeah, the bad thing's the most likely is Yordan Alvarez, which is pretty cool because he's not going to be super chalky. It really likes the odds on Matt Olson as well, who's not going to be very chalky. In terms of betting, the best odds for home runs tonight, we have that game hasn't started. Yeah, Garrett Hampson. Wait, no, is that a? Damn it, that's That's a
regardless of him being on the slate. I'm just laughing that that's the guy in general.
Well, because usually the best odds are like plus 2,000, right?
Yeah, I know.
So some of the Astros guys actually. So Jose Altuve plus 825, Chas McCormick plus 1075. Both look pretty good tonight.
Okay.
I got your best. I just pulled it up for you from EV Analytics. A decent expected value play. So this is Carty speaking, not me, but I'm just reading it. Is Suzuki for the Cubs? He's a three-star expect for DraftKings. At least that's what I have pulled up DraftKings. So that would probably be a bet that probably may not be 20-1, but has a good chance of actually hitting.
Okay. How about some Juggalo bombs?
Yeah, like I said, Corey Seager is my one Juggalo bomb. If we want a little bit of an easier one, I got to ride this JD Martinez streak. I know it's crazy. People don't believe it that you ever heard of the gathering of the Juggalo? The gathering, it's a big, everybody comes together, all the big ICP people, the Juggalos.
I did not know there was a gathering, but I think Juggalos are like actually kind people, right? Even though they look like they're going to stab you in the face, aren't they?
Very welcoming. Very well. It's where I found myself, Roth. So
I'm not sure.
Great
I'm not
movement.
sure if you're serious or if that's a good thing. I've heard the Juggalos are good folk. All right.
Yeah, JD Martinez and Corey Seager.
Okay. This show is just so off the rails. It has been since the moment it started. All right. Hey, we got about 5 minutes, I believe, until some QQs or until lock. So let's get to some questions. I'm scrolling up just a wee bit. We'll start with Dean. He says, hey, how concerned should we be about a meaningful delay in cores? I'm considering starting a pitcher, as is Kirkwood. I will tell you that right now on radar, there's nothing to be worried about, but we're still far enough out that really we just need to look at high resolution forecast models, which I'm pulling up now. I think it would be, there's a decent chance of a delay, but that includes the potential for a late start. So like it's a random GPP dart, Dean, just throw it. Just throw it, weather be damned. Throw the dart. Let's see what else we got here. DKGPP, better to go Kirkwood. Would you rather go 5-3 Cincinnati Dodgers with Bibby or contrarian 5-3 Dodgers Cincy with Scherzer?
Dodgers Cincy.
So would you rather go 5-3 Cincy being the 5, Dodgers being the 3 with Bibby, or 5-3 Dodgers 5, Cincy 3 with Scherzer?
I would do Scherzer. It's probably going to be less owned, but they're both extremely high upside, each one of those options.
Okay, very good. Fanduel single entry, Carty, I'm coming to you. Do you want Willis Smith or Freeman?
They're both great. Freeman's a little better.
Okay. Fanduel cash question, Kirkwood, Taylor, Longo Dongo, or DeLuca and J-Ram?
DeLuca and J-Ram. First of all, Longo Dongo just being so old. I mean, rumor is he's the same age as Chop. Don't tell anyone. Rumor. But and then the pinch hit risk. So I think I'll just go. I just think J-Ram's gonna have a big game tonight.
Okay. Falcor, Kirkwood, I'm coming back to you for this one. FanDuel single entry in the util. You want Lamont Wade or Trout? It just seems wrong going Wade in Colorado over Trout. P.S. I also have Ohtani. That does feel wrong to go some dude named Lamont Wade over Trout.
I played Trout last night. I played him on Yahoo because he was $14, and man, I had Mitch Old Yeller Keller and still cash. So I was thankful for that. And Trout helped me. Trout's not running the bases. It's tough to pay 5.7 for him at this point when he's not stealing. Like you can just pay the 400 more and get Ohtani, and you're going to get upside from either way. But I mean, he's still. I don't have any doubt that he's going to come around. So it's a tough call, but I'd probably go the away. I'd probably go Lamont Wade.
Wow. Okay. All right. FanDuel cash, Carty, Conforto or Muncy?
Conforto who or Muncy?
It was just Conforto or Muncie. I just pronounced it weirdly.
Muncie for sure.
I added like an extra 2 syllables in Conforto that didn't need to be there. FanDuel Cash, Carty, Trout, or Jock? We got about 2-3 minutes until lock.
Jock.
Let's take
Crazy,
some
huh?
YouTube.
What a world.
I know.
World we're living in, man. Let's take some. Hey, Tesla says, hey, I love this show. My day wouldn't be the same without it. Thank you. Appreciate that. That is very kind. If you're thinking, hey, this show is fantastic, we ask that you hit that thumbs up button for us because that is what keeps this show free for the masses. Also, make sure you're signing up for the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you're in a legal sports betting state, you can take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions do apply. That is a sweet deal, so make sure you're taking advantage of that. Doug Montgomery says, hey, Carty, does the Bat X start relying on 2023 pitching stats only ever, or how far back does it go? Or stupid question.
Yeah, no, you never want to just rely on 1 year of stats. Even with 1 day left in the season, it's still going to be looking at past stats because that's what you do to maximize accuracy. How far back you go changes depending on what stat you're looking at. Basically the bat runs tests to see how far back and how much weighting for each year maximizes accuracy. And it's different for strikeouts than it is for walks, than it is for BABIP, than it is for anything else. So it's all kind of, unique.
And is it fair to assume that it is weighted for more recent?
Yeah, more recent
years,
stuff almost always
recent.
gets weighted higher than past stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool. Carty, Alonso or Vlad on DK?
I like Vlad more. They're probably just GPP plays, so you can play either, but I take Vlad.
Okay. Kirkwood, any chance of Mets from Mark? Any chance of Met stack wins all the money, or am I better off making paper airplanes with all of that money?
I mean, there's always a chance in Atlanta.
It's the best hitting weather of the day.
Yeah, it's great. It always has the humidity going out there, and it's so there's always that chance. I like Morton. I think Morton is his curve is looking great again. He looks to me like he's back. It just took him a little time to warm up, which makes sense for being the age he is. He just defies the age model, but yeah, it could happen.
Okay. Carty, do you play cash GPPs or just collect that sweet bat money? You play cash and GPPs, right?
Yeah, I don't play a lot of GPPs. I've always been a cash guy. I don't play as much volume as I used to play. A lot of reason just because I'm so busy running the business and doing 100 different things these days. I'd much rather make sure the projections are high quality and up to snuff and working for everybody and handling all my customer service and everything else. But yeah, I'm mostly a cash guy, but obviously I know a lot about GPPs too. I talk with Blender and smart people, and it's just, a lot of it's kind of intuitive.
Yeah. All right. FanDuel Cash. I think we hit lock, right? Was lock at 5 after? Is that just,
just hit lock.
All right. We'll take a couple more questions and we'll bounce on out of here. Ohtani or Estrada in FanDuel Cash? I swear to God, if the answer is Estrada, I know nothing about baseball and I quit. Ohtani or Estrada FanDuel Cash?
Are they the same? Are they the same price? Like that can't be a straight up, can it?
I have no idea.
I mean, Ohtani does project better. I will tell you that. I think, right? He's got it. Yeah, Ohtani projects better. If
Ohtani's in the bat optimal, is what I see.
Yeah,
so
it's got to be Ohtani.
Good. I was going to rage quit like Carty did earlier if the answer was some dude named Estrada who I've never heard of.
Wow, they are actually Estrada's $100 more, but yeah, it's Ohtani.
Okay. Whew. FanDuel GPP, Ohtani, or a complete Dodger stack with JD Martinez. Kirkwood, you want the Dodger stack complete with JD?
Of course.
Yeah, got to do it. Luke Cage says, thanks, Carty. I'm already excited for the blitz. And then he does this sign and then money emoji sign. Yeah. Have you even thought about the blitz yet? Or are you?
Oh, yeah, I'm starting to think about it. I've started doing a little bit of work for football already, so there's always stuff to do.
Very nice. TJ says, customer service can't be that hard, Carty. Don't you just call them stupid and hang up the phone? That works
as much as I tell.
Block the number.
As much as I like to tell chat that they are stupid sometimes, I love doing customer service. I answer every single question I get from everybody, no matter how stupid the question is. Like, I'm more than happy to help people who are legitimately willing to learn and asking, real questions.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say who are legitimately morons.
Yeah.
So I thought you were gonna...
legitimately stupid. I'm here to help. All right. Hey, guys, I think on that note, we are going to bounce on out of here. Hey, tune in tomorrow morning. 1 second. Let me get this time for you. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We got big news. Tune in tomorrow morning at 8:20 Eastern to the Weather Channel. 8:20 in the morning Eastern on the Weather Channel. Your boy is going to be talking about the wildfire smoke and how it impacts sporting events. So check out the Weather Channel. I'm going to be repping for RotoGrinders on there tomorrow, 8:40 in the morning. Go ahead, 8:20 in the morning. Go ahead, set your DVRs. Spam them with love when my hit hits. With that, we're going to get on out of here. Kirkwood, always good working with you, man. It's rare but fun.
Been a pleasure.
Yeah. Carty, always a pleasure, my guy.
You as well.
We're going to bounce. Yeah, for Carty, for Kirkwood, for our wonderful production crew. Always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.